Today I'm going to show you how to use Flipgrid. Flipgrid is a free program that can be used on any device that has internet capability. So a PC, a Mac, a Chromebook will all work, and there is an app that you can download to use this on an iPad or any other tablet or iPhone or other types of phones. So the first thing you need to do is create a free account. So yours may say something like start an account here. Mine says admin login because I already have an account. So once you click on that and create your account, you're ready to go, and it'll bring you to a page that looks like this. Now there is a free and a paid version for Flipgrid. The limitation with the free version is you can only have one grid. You can have several topics on that grid, but only one grid. The price for the yearly subscription is $65 to have unlimited grids. So if this is something that you find useful and you may want to use, it's not a horrible price if you want to use this, especially if you want to make more than one grid. If you're a secondary teacher and you have different classes and you don't want to use the same grid, you may find it useful to use the paid version. The other thing is, if you don't want to do the paid version but you want to have more than one grid, you can create different accounts with different emails. So this way, if you have different subjects or different classes and you want to use a different one, that's a way around paying to get the unlimited grids. So once you get to this screen, there are a couple of things you can do up here. My Grids is where we're going to create our grid. I wanted to show you connections. If you click on connections, you can look at other people's grids and you can use them. You can search by grade level. You can search by topic. And this could be useful if you're looking for some ideas. The only thing with the free version is that you can't post your grids to this global community. So you could look at others, but you can't post yours. Now I'm going to go back to My Grids because that's where we're going to go to create our grid. And we're going to click New Grid. And then you're going to name this grid. I'm going to call this one Practice for today. This is where the different subject that you're speaking of or your topic, that's what you would call your grid. Over here is the unique code that it gives you when you share this. This is the code that, or the link that students or your users will use to get to this grid. If you upgrade to the paid version, it comes with something called Flipgrid Classroom, and then you would be able to change this. So maybe you could have this be period 1, period 2. If you had several different grids, you can make it an easier link to remember instead of this number and letter combination, but that's with the paid version. You do have some options here, so you can password protect this grid if you'd like. You can allow moderation of responses, so meaning that you would get to see the response and approve it before students can put it on there. Do you want to be notified or receive an email notification when new responses are added? Probably a good idea that you'll know that somebody put something on the grid. Are you going to allow the users to share this link? So can somebody else take this link and put it somewhere else for others to get into it? That depends on, I guess, how far you want others to see this grid. Do you want students to receive email notifications when new topics are created? That's up to you. Usually you're going to assign that, so it's probably why it's off right now. Okay, and transcriptions and audio generated transcription, and that's on now. So then I'm going to click Create Grid. And it's ready, so I'm going to add a topic. So think of the grid as sort of the wall. Now you have to add topics to it. So if you scroll down, you'll see you have a grid, but you don't have anything on it. So it has no topics. Okay, so they want you to add a topic. So you can add it here or add it there. So let's say this is a language arts class. And your first topic is personal narrative. You're going to ask the students a question about their personal narrative. So I'm going to click on New Topic. And my title is Personal Narrative. Now again, with the free version, you only get 1 minute and 30 seconds. If you have the updated version, you can go up to 3 minutes, and there's some other options. And if you try to change it, it's going to tell you that. It tells you to upgrade, and then you would have that option to change the setting. But right now, you have 1 minute and 30 seconds, or your students have 1 minute and 30 seconds to respond. I'm going to scroll down, and here's where you would type your question. So let's say we're going to ask them what they did over the summer as a leading question for their personal narrative. So, what did you do this past summer? And you have some options up here of bolding and italicizing. You can add a link here too, so that the students would have to see a link. Maybe you'd have a page that would be helpful with personal narratives, and you want to give them that link to go to that they can view it. You can give a date, so that is today. Okay, that's just to sort them, so pretty much the day that you create the topic is a good date. And then you're going to create it. So it's saying all we have to do is share it. Here is the grid code. So when students sign in, I'm going to show you that in a moment, what it looks like from their end. You would give them this code and they would go right to this grid. You can also give them this link and that will bring it to them as well. Direct link right to the grid. Okay, so right now there's other places you can get that from. I'm just going to hit got it. And here it is to view it as a student. So I'm going to look at my options. Here is the question. Now this is from the teacher side, what it looks like. It is active. When you are no longer using this question, you can turn it off by just clicking on that toggle switch. Click on it again to make it active. You can freeze this topic so students can view it, but they can't answer anymore. So maybe after a certain point of a due date, you may freeze it, which meaning they can't answer anymore, but they can. They see that it's there, and maybe they'll know that they have a missing assignment. So now that you have this topic set up, there are a few actions you can do. So you can click on here, and you can always go back and edit it, change the question, or add something to the question. You can share this, which is where you'll get that link again. You can move it, so if you did have more than one grid, you could move it. You could duplicate it if you want to use it again for another grid, and you could delete it altogether. So right now, this is what it looks like from the teacher side, and you see you have no responses. If you click on here, it says view it as a student. So now if I click on this link, this is exactly how it looks for your students. Here's that code. That's how they got in. Okay, and it shows them the question under the topic personal narrative. Here's their question, and they can add a response. So if I click on add a response, it'll bring up a window right here, and it's telling you here's the question right here. The camera's not on right now. It is testing your audio level. So if I click the record button and look up and kind of give an answer, so 3. This summer I went to the beach a lot. Eat a lot of ice cream and a lot of pizza, and I like to walk on the boardwalk. I like to take my dogs for a walk, and mostly I went to the beach this summer. Then you hit pause. Okay, if you want, you can trash it and start again. But if this is what you're going to take as your answer, we're going to hit next. This summer I went to the beach a lot. Eat a lot of ice cream and a lot of pizza, and I like to walk on the boardwalk. I like to take my dogs for a walk, and mostly I went to the beach this summer. So you get to review it, okay, and this is where you can trash it again if you want. If not, we're good. I'm going to hit next, and it's saying snap a selfie. Your picture will be on the grid, so I guess if you want to have your picture there, let's take a picture. And click next, and we can check it, and then we're going to put my name. Okay, email address is optional. I'm not going to put it in for now, and I'm going to submit my video, so that means it's going to my teacher, and there you go. So I'm going to close it, and now here are all the videos, so they will start to, as each student hands them in, records them, they will start to pop up here. So this is still the view of the student side. So to go back to the teacher dashboard so you can view responses and see all of them, you would go back to the other tab. We're back at the teachers, or on my grids. You have your name here, so you know that this is the teacher's side. Okay, here was that personal narrative. I'm going to scroll down, and now I have a response. So I have one here. Okay, if you don't see that right away, you may need to refresh your screen, and then you will see it. And then what you can do with this is you can play it from here. So if I click on it. This summer I went to the beach. That's how you can test your students' answers. Okay, and for here, for actions for the response, you can edit, you can share it, you can download it to the computer you're on. Sharing, and then also it was out here when we were on the page with where all of your students will show up. You can share just this one response, okay, from a URL or this link. So maybe you want to send it to parents just to show them what they did. Or if you do want to put it like on a teacher page or on your web page or Google Classroom or somewhere where you would like other people to see it, you can do that. Again, this is active. You can turn it off so that when you go back on that page you can't see it anymore. And some other actions here is where you can edit it again. You can share it as well, which is the same share as here, or delete it altogether. This export is not the same as share. This export is to send it somewhere else, which is also part of that paid version. So this won't do that for you. You have to use share to actually share it somewhere. Okay? And it's been viewed 2 times. There are no replies, okay, but somebody could reply to it. If you go back to the student page, I'll go back to the teacher side. And then another thing you can do is if you go to your dashboard, that's where you can get some more information. So it shows you your grids, shows you how many topics, how many responses, how many all week, and total interaction and engagement time. So here's some other useful information to show how well this is working for you in your classroom. Okay, it even has some activity by grid, so it shows you dates and it shows you there was a lot of action on this day. And then recent videos. And that's pretty much Flipgrid in a nutshell. It's a very simple to use program. It's free. It's very engaging. Each kid must be engaged while they're using it, so it's kind of a really good idea. They love it. It can be used on their phones. If your district doesn't have enough devices, this is something that you can do with students on their phones. This is also something for any age, grade level, subject. It's great for any of those different, no matter what the subject, no matter what the grade. And like I said, the free version will get you what you want. You can also delete a grid. So with that free version, because you can only have one grid, and maybe you don't want to pay for the other version, you can delete this grid and then start a new grid. So maybe when you're done with, let's say, this personal narrative, you can delete the grid altogether here, and then you'll be able to do a new grid. Right now, you'll see it's grayed out. You can't click on it because you can only have one grid in the free version. So there's a couple ways around that if you want to not pay for the paid version, but you want to use this in your class. And I think you'll find that the students are really engaged and really enjoy it.